So, welcome again, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us on our third complimentary IELTS Horizon webinar. And listening to you guys, we've decided to do another reading session um, for April 18th, 2020. And basically, what we're going to be doing, we're going to go talk a little bit about the reading session and go through some questions, and particularly we're going to be doing today um, so matching headings. And please hold your questions. You can type them up. I see that some people have been asking me some questions. Uh, I promise you we will get to them before the end of the webinar. And thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to come see what we have to offer and see if we can sort of help you guys out. All right, so matching headings. Each sort of section in the reading test requires a certain set of skills. And so let me be very clear. Skills, you're not born with skill. No one is born with skills. It's not like talent. So, some people, I'm sure you have some friends who are who are very good at picking up languages. They'll learn languages very fast. So people are born with talent. We all have talent. Whether you're very good at learning a language, whether you're very good at mathematics, whether you have a very good sense of humor. So all these things are talents, right? Skills are very different. And because I've had this question from students before where they'll say something like, oh, well, yes, I can't get it. I'm not very good at reading, at acquiring language. My sister or my brother, they are learning this very fast and I don't know how they're doing it. Well, having talent is good. However, talent without skill, you will not get very far. Right? So in order for you to develop your skills, this is what it takes. It takes for you, you need to invest your time and invest your effort into developing your skills. Right? Much like anything in life, whether it's you're going to be cooking, whether it's learning to drive a car, whether it's learning a new computer program, anything at all in life, you need to develop skills for it. And the only way to develop skills is to sit and to invest and to work hard at it. So the skills for the matching section, for the matching heading section, you need to be able to locate specific information. You need to choose appropriate words, and you need to understand the details. So by locating specific information, and we'll go through this when I give you a sort of like an example. I'll do a few examples for you. But locating specific information, because headings are usually 3, 4, or 5 words, so they're like little titles. And what you're supposed to do is that you're supposed to match the headings with paragraphs. So it's not like fill in the blanks where you're looking at sentences. Headings, you're looking at whole paragraphs. Basically, what they're telling you to do is read this paragraph and give it a title. What title with this? What is this paragraph talking about? In order to do that, you need to be able to locate specific information. And sometimes when you're looking for this specific information, you need to think, in what form will it come? Usually what I like to do for the headings, and I mean, you can feel free to do this, and some other people have different ways, but I look at the topic sentences. So the topic sentence is basically it's usually the first or second sentence in the paragraph that gives you sort of an introduction or the information, the required information about the paragraph. So you'll know what the paragraph is about. So, and I'll show you this, and I'll do this. We have I have a little exercise at the end, and I'll show you what I mean. So keep that in mind. Topic sentence. So it's a sentence that gives you the topic. It's usually in the very first or first or second sentence of the paragraph. Choosing appropriate words. So a lot of times headings will be sort of rewritten. You'll have synonyms. So synonyms, remember, we have synonyms and we have antonyms. Synonyms are words that mean the same thing, and antonyms are the opposites. So I'll give you an example of a synonym. So let's see here. I'm trying to think of a word for a synonym. Okay, heading. Heading, the word heading, right? It is a noun, Heading. The synonym for heading is title, so Title. So those are synonyms, heading, title, right? So those are synonyms. So learning to sort of look at words that are in the headings and words that are in the text and see if they're synonymous with each other, if they're the same. That'll sort of, again, it'll give you an idea of what this paragraph's about. And then the third skill is you need to be able to understand details. So reading, you cannot memorize reading. You cannot memorize language. You need to be able to understand and process what you're reading in order to answer the question. And this takes, believe me, I wish there was a blue pill that I can give you. If you take this pill, you'll be, you know, you'll learn, you'll acquire all this reading skills. However, there is not a blue pill. So you'll need to, it's how much time you put in and how much effort you put in order to improve. And believe me, I promise you, I've seen a lot of people. My neighbor is one of them. Where 3 years ago, she spoke very little English. She maybe knew one or two words. And now you can't get her to stop talking, right? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, right, it's because she put in the effort and she put in her reading improved, her listening improved, even her writing improved, right? So it's just putting in the effort. And believe me, like she used to say, "Oh, I'm not so smart," or "I'm not this." You do not have to be. You do not have to be smart. Well, I mean, everyone is smart, sort of, but you don't have to be intelligent or highly intelligent in order to learn English. So remember, the English language, whether you like it or not, whether it's fortunately or unfortunately, is the #1 language in the world, right? So it's used for everything, for international trade, even in politics, right? When you're doing business between multinational companies, the contracts are written in English, right? So English is the lingua franca, we say, or the main language of the world, and it's very, it's. I'm not going to say it's easy or difficult, but it's very doable for you to learn it, right? If it was very difficult to learn, then it wouldn't be the #1 language in the world, right? So for me, I've seen many languages. So for example, Arabic. So I speak Arabic. Arabic is very difficult to learn, very, very, very difficult to learn, and in order for you to understand details, because there are so many words in Arabic, right? However, in English, you don't have that issue, right? So this is something also to keep in mind. So please, when it comes to matching headings or anything else that you do in English, you need to practice. You need to do it. And believe me, I promise you, and I've seen it many times, you will be able to do it. Just put in the effort. All right? Okay. So we have a few tips for you for the matching headings section. So one thing that's important, not all headings might be used. And I've seen this countless times. When you have, for example, 4 paragraphs, but you have 6 headings or 5 headings. So 1 or 2 of them will not be used because you only want 4, right? So not all headings might be used. Another thing, you need to distinguish between main ideas and supporting information. And I cannot stress this enough. Again, there's no blueprint, there's no way to do this, but it's basically the main ideas will reflect the words in the headings, and I'll tell you what that means. when we do the exercise. So distinguish between main ideas and supporting information. So the main idea, like I said earlier, it could be you'll be able to usually see it in either um, uh, so in the topic sentence, which is usually in the first or second sentences of the entire paragraph. So you'll need to differentiate between the main ideas and the supporting information. And what you do is when you read the headings, before you read the paragraphs and try to match, when you look at the headings, you say, okay, so headings, these titles, they're the main ideas. So I need to find these in the paragraph, right? So pay attention to headings that are similar, and sometimes they'll do this to try to trick you. Some headings, they'll be very eerily similar, and it's usually, it comes down to a difference of one or two words, right? So this is another thing to do. And heading is a title slash summary for each paragraph. So what that means is, like I suggested earlier, the title provides a summary, or the heading provides a summary for each paragraph, and a summary usually has the main idea. So that's sort of important for you to know, that the title or the heading gives you like a sort of a short summary or a representation of the main idea in the paragraph. All right? Okay. So now then, I got for you a 3 paragraphs. We have paragraph A, paragraph B, and paragraph C, and then we have 4 different options to choose from. So match the headings with the appropriate paragraph. So to approach this question, what I like to do is, so I'll see, okay, so first is possible damage, shocking news, misleading information, place where controversial research was created. So these are the 4 headings that we have. And then we have how many paragraphs? We have 1, 2, 3, A, B, and C. What this suggests to me is that one of these headings, either 1, 2, or 3, or 4, we will not be using them, right? We're only going to be using 3 of them. So what I like to do is, let's start reading. Let's start reading together. So paragraph A, people trying to give up smoking often use e-cigarettes to help wean themselves off tobacco. Most experts think they are safer than cigarettes, but a surprising paper was published recently. It suggests that people who use e-cigarettes are less successful at giving up smoking than those who don't. E-cigarettes won't help you quit, reported the Daily Mail. Smokers using vapors are 28% less likely to ditch traditional cigarettes, read the paper. The story was reported on many other websites around the world, including CBS. The study, e-cigarettes don't help smokers quit, it said. So we read the first paragraph. Where do you think the topic sentence is? Let's look at the topic sentence. Where do you think the topic sentence is? And I think that the topic sentence is either, remember, the first or the second sentence in the paragraph. So if we were to look at the first sentence, so people are trying, there we go. Okay. People trying to give up smoking often use e-cigarettes to help wean themselves off of tobacco. Most experts think they are safer than cigarettes. All right, but a surprising paper was published recently. It suggests that people use e-cigarettes. Okay. So then we have 2 sentences here. So these are the first 2 sentences here, and let me make a sort of, okay. So these are the first 2 sentences, and as you can see, the paragraph is short. That's totally fine. Even if a paragraph is 15 or 20 sentences, right? Although I don't think you'll ever see a paragraph with 20 sentences. They should split that paragraph up. But yeah, paragraphs are usually 4 to 5 sentences, and the main idea or the topic sentence is in the first, either the first or 2. So if we were to go back, we would say people trying to give up smoking often use e-cigarettes to help wean themselves off of tobacco. So what this sentence is telling us is that, so people who vape or use electronic cigarettes, So they're trying to do so to quit. To quit. Let's look. Is it possible damage? Is it shocking news? I don't think it's talking about possible damage, nor is it shocking news because, I mean, you know, I don't really think it's shocking that people trying to give up smoking often use e-cigarettes to help wean themselves off of tobacco. If it was opposite, that would be shocking. But I don't think that's shocking because it's actually makes sense. Yeah, if you want to stop cigarettes or chewing tobacco or whatever, chances are, okay, let me try this e-vape. Let me try to vape in order to control the amount of nicotine that I get and things like that. Is it misleading information? People trying to give up smoking often use e-cigarettes to help wean themselves off of tobacco. I don't think it's misleading. Um, and place where controversial research was created, you can say, no, of course not, because they're not talking about a place. They're giving you sort of a general sentence. So that's sentence number one. Let's look at sentence number two. Most experts think they are safer than cigarettes, but a surprising paper was published recently. It suggests that people who use e-cigarettes are less successful at giving up smoking than those who do not. So, are they talking about possible damage? No, they're not. Is it shocking news? What do you think? Shocking news. So let's read the questions again. So what it says is most experts think they are safer than cigarettes. So experts, what are experts? People who are really knowledgeable, people who know what they're talking about, people who have degrees, and basically, so like many, I mean, I don't think myself as an IELTS expert. Okay, maybe I'm I'm a small expert, right? So people who know what they're talking about, people who are considered to be sort of have information about this, they're considered to be experts, and people listen to them. When the expert tells you, oh, they think they're safer than cigarettes, so oh, e-vaping is okay, it's not harmful. Cigarettes are much more harmful, right? That's one piece of information. But a surprising paper, remember, so the word is surprising. Surprising. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my pen. Here, maybe I can do this. Okay, there we go. It doesn't look as, okay. So here, let me do this. So surprising, there we go, much better. So surprising paper was published recently. It suggests that people who use e-cigarettes are less successful at giving up smoking than those who don't. So what do you think? Remember, so the word is surprising. Let's look at number two. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's look at, oops, some technical difficulties. Okay, so then shocking news. Remember when I was talking about synonyms, words that are similar to each other? So surprising and shocking. What does surprising mean? Surprising means something that surprises you. It's unexpected, like a surprise birthday party, right? When you hide and you tell your friend, oh, let's go to my house, and then your friend comes and they're unexpected, and they open the door and people yell surprise. Usually your friend is surprised, right? Another word for surprised is shocked, right? Because it's shocking. It's like, wow, really? So yeah, so the answer for paragraph A is 2. So we'll put in a 2 over there. Or 2, we'll put in an A over here. Right? So you notice I'm not going for 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm not looking possible damage and I'm looking where it is in the paragraph. No, I'm looking at the paragraph and I'm trying to match the headings to it. That's another thing that people do. Whenever you're trying to answer questions like these, what people will do is they'll read the paragraphs looking for possible damage, looking to see where does possible damage work. Is it paragraph C, B, or A? Right? People do this. Don't do this. Remember, because you have so many, you have more headings than you have paragraphs. So do the opposite. right? You read the paragraphs and then you try to match it with the headings themselves. All right? Okay, so moving on. B, the study causing the fuss was written by researchers at the Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education at the University of California and published in one of the Lancet's sister journals, Lancet Respiratory Medicine. So paragraph B, we have all of this, and here, let me underline it. I'm sure there's a highlight option, but I'm not really sure how to turn it on. I'll do it for next time. But so basically, Lancet Respiratory Medicine. So then this is the first sentence. And notice that this paragraph has 3 sentences. So the study causing the fuss was written by researchers at the Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education at the University of California and published in one of the Lancet's sister journals, Lancet Respiratory Medicine. It is a meta-analysis, which means that the authors reviewed the academic literature already available on the topic. They sifted out the weaker papers, ones that didn't have control groups, for example, and were left with 20. Okay, so in order for us to better understand this paragraph, let's break it down. How many sentences does this paragraph have? It has 3 sentences. So we have one full stop or one period after the word medicine. That's one. And then the second period is after the word topic over here. And then finally, the third period is at the end of the third sentence. So what is this paragraph saying exactly? What is this? Like, if we were to read it together, let's unpack it. Let's see, what is this paragraph saying? So basically, each sentence is saying something different. So the study is the experiment or the project causing the fuss. So remember, causing the fuss because it's surprising. It caused a fuss. People were thinking that, oh, e-vape, electronic cigarettes are safer than smoking tobacco. However, this paper is saying no, right? It's not. Our Lex, right? So, excuse me. That's why it's causing the fuss. So the study causing the fuss was written by researchers at the Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education at the University of California. So basically, they're telling you that this paper was written at the Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education at the University of California, and it was published in one of the Lancet's sister journal, Lancet Respiratory Medicine. So for me, if we look at the topic sentence is either sentence number 1 or sentence number 2. It is a meta-analysis, which means the authors reviewed the academic literature already available on the topic. They sifted out the weaker papers. So basically, a meta-analysis is, when you have many studies, so many people will write papers on the same topic. So let's say the topic is smoking, and then you have 50 papers that people write on smoking. And a meta-analysis, they'll take these 50 papers and then they'll analyze them all together at the same time. So that's basically what a meta-analysis is. So if we were to look at the headings that we have here, so remember, number 2 is complete. We have 1, 3, or 4. Possible damage. Do these sentences talk about possible damage? No, they do not. What is this paragraph telling? This paragraph is telling us that there was a study written, and it was written at this place, and it was published in this journal, and this is what the study entails. It is a meta-analysis. So they're not talking about possible damage. Shocking news is done. Misleading information. Is there any misleading information here? No, there isn't. There is not, because again, they're talking about it's a place. But we look at number 4, place where controversial research was created. So what does controversial mean? Controversial means that it's shocking, surprising, but the key word here is place, right? Place. So the study causing the fuss was written by researchers at the Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education at the University of California. That sounds like a place to me. So the answer is B. Right? All right. So now let's move on to the final paragraph. The conclusion: smokers who use e-cigarettes have a 28% lower chance of quitting than smokers who don't use them, according to Professor Stanton Glantz, one of the authors. But while the conclusion is surprising, so is the number of academics who have criticized the paper. One was Anne McNeil, professor of tobacco addiction at King's College London, whose own research is included in Glantz analysis. This review is not scientific, and so notice it's the two quotation marks. She wrote on the Science Media Center website, the information about the two studies that I co-authored is either inaccurate or misleading. I believe the findings should therefore be dismissed. So what does this mean for you? Remember, so we read the entire paragraph. Where is the topic sentence? Remember, it's either sentence number 1 or sentence number 2. So sentence number 1 is, so it goes all the way to the authors over here, and then we'll look at sentence number 2 over there. So the conclusion: smokers who use e-cigarettes have a 28% lower chance of quitting than smokers who don't use them, according to Professor Stanton Glantz, one of the authors. But while the conclusion is surprising, so is the number of academics who have criticized the paper. So what do you think? What do you think? Is it possible damage, or is it misleading information? Right? So you'll need to go, and remember, so I didn't do these before. I don't have the answers in front of me. I'm doing this, live in front of you as we're speaking. So it could be any of them. It could be possible damage, or it could be misleading information. So let's look at this again. The conclusion: smokers who use e-cigarettes have a 28% lower chance of quitting than smokers who don't use them, according to Professor Stanton Glantz, one of the authors. But while the conclusion is surprising, so is the number of academics who have criticized the paper, right? So the number of academics that have criticized the paper. So what does this mean? Possible damage or misleading information? I think this is misleading information, because but while the conclusion is surprising, so is the number of academics who have criticized the paper. When you're criticizing something, you're saying that it's incorrect, that it's wrong. So for me, when something is being criticized, it means that it's misleading, right? So the answer is C, misleading information, right? So that's how basically I do it. All right. So now let's see what time it is. Wow, it is 11:48. That's okay. So we'll take a few questions, and let's see what's going on. Okay. So let's see. 11:06. Mohammed. First of all, special thanks to holding this class. I want to know, what is the main keys of matching is reading session? What is the main keys of matching? So Mohammed, I'm not really sure I understand your question. So the main keys of matching is reading session. So if you can, are you trying to ask about, so that you mean the key ideas of matching in the reading section, or what are you doing exactly? So if you rewrite your question, I'll be more than happy to answer it. All right, and then we have another question from, so it's in Arabic, and I can read Arabic, but I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it correctly. So it says, thanks, sir. This is my first time attending this class. What are the available courses for this program? Because I'm really interested. Besides, is Certificate World recognized? Thanks. So for this course, we have many other available courses. And if you send us a question, to our directly on our website, so IELTSHorizon.com/Q&A. We'll be more than happy to share with you the courses that we have coming up. All right. Oh, look, we have one of our former students. I'm Rehab. I joined your Arabic course a year ago. It helped me get a 6.5. Well, thank you, Rehab, for considering us again. And I don't know if the 6.5 was the grade that you wanted, but nonetheless, it is a very high score, and you should be very proud of yourself. And Rehab says that my problem is still with the true false not giving. Will you do a session on that? Yes, we will. I promise you we will, and we will be doing many sessions on the different sort of sections of the reading, and we'll talk about that. Anonymous attendee, great session, thanks. Will you do writing? Yes, we will. We have a bunch of schedules and sessions coming up for the which will include writing also. All right, Mohammed. Let's see what Mohammed said. One second here. I believe that sometimes the main idea of the paragraph is not the first or second sentence, what we can do if we can't find the main idea in these two sentences. So, Mohammed, that's a very good question. Um, keep reading. That would be my answer for this. Just keep reading. But 90, I'm not going to say 99, but okay, 90% of the time, the main idea is usually in the first or second first or second sentences. All right. So that's thing. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if we have more questions. Okay, let's see here. Something is wrong here. Oh, I can't seem to find the. Okay, there we go. It's working. Okay. Great session. Thanks. We do. Yes, we answered that. Okay, Mohammed, 1147. We answered this. So Fatima is asking, would it be possible to mention some important grammar that are necessary for IELTS? So to answer this question, I'm going to tell you, all grammar is important for IELTS. However, it depends on what you want, what grade, what section, what score you want to get. Usually, if you want to get above a 6, your grammar should be more advanced. Do you know what I mean? Than let's say someone who will get a 4 or a 5. So using things like the past participle, the future continuous, things like that, things that not many people or majority of people would not use unless they absolutely have to. So that's in terms of grammar. All right, anonymous attendee, do you have any idea about the online test? Online test. So I know that IELTS is moving to computer-based tests. But it's not online per se. You still have to go to a center and you will sit there and you will do it. And it's basically exactly like the in-person test. It's just you're doing it instead of a paper and pencil, you're doing it in front of a computer. Anonymous attendee, is there an Arabic course too? I need one. Yes, we do. So for those of you who don't know what an Arabic course is, it's basically the same information except we're explaining it, in Arabic. Yes, and if you send us your inquiries at IELTSHorizon.com/Q&A, we'll love to give you the session times for that. Okay, so Christiana. Hello, Christiana. Do you have any other tips for the true, false, not given section? How can I be 100% sure if the sentence matches the given heading? So you have two parts there about a true, false, not given. I do have other tips. However, unfortunately, it would require a long time for us to do it, and we will have. I promise you, we will have a session that's based on true, false, not given, and we'll dissect it and we'll go through it, in a very deep way. And how can I be 100% sure if the sentence matches the given headings? So basically, like if you saw the way that I did it, you will know that once you're done, you can read the headings and you can read the paragraph, and you'll see that, okay, does this make sense? Does this heading, if I was to be writing this, would this be the title for this? Will this title be misleading? So that's another way for you to be sure that the sentence, that the headings match the paragraph. Anonymous attendee, that would be great to have this kind of sessions in writing and reading more. I completely agree. And please, so if you guys want these, send us your inquiries, send us your questions. IELTSHorizon.com/Q&A. I promise you, we look at them and we answer and we type our responses. Right? We don't just have that there for fun. It's there because we want to get in touch with you and we want to do more sessions, but we would like to know what you guys would like. Right? For us, we want to maximize not just the use of our time, but also the use of your time, because you've taken the time to come and to sit with us and to attend this webinar, and we thank you. However, we want you to go after this webinar for you to be satisfied, and we need to know what is it that you guys want help with. So please email us, send us a message. Tell your friends to subscribe on Instagram, to send us questions, and we'll be more than happy to answer them, and we'll cater to what you want. Right? So that's it. Opa A7, when is your next video? So our next video is actually Monday. So next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, US, which is the same like today, we're going to have a question and answer session. It's going to be 45 minutes. I'm going to be sitting. There's not going to be much teaching. I'm just going to be there to answer all of your questions. Whatever questions you have, write them down and bring them to the next session, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Whether they're about speaking, listening, reading, writing, anything at all, right? We'll do that. So R is asking, are the questions in order with the passage? Well, thank you for your question, R. In the heading, the matchings, no, they're not. The questions are not in order with the passage. However, for fill in the blanks, true, false, not given, these questions, yes, they're in order with the passage. All right, Fareed. So hello, Fareed. I hope you're doing well. Fareed asks, what trick we can use when don't understand the main idea of a topic because of its complexity? Is there any way to find some clues in the passage? So that's a very good question, Fareed. However, it depends on your level of understanding of the main idea, right? So if you have someone who's a low level and they don't get the main idea, there are no tricks. So there's nothing that you can do because if you don't understand the main idea, you don't have the vocabulary for it, right? Tricks come in when you have some understanding, but you don't have enough time to answer the question. Correct? So to answer your question about tricks, there isn't really a specific number of tricks or a specific trick that you can do. It just comes to practice, right? And remember, the tips that I'm giving you, that everyone else, if you go on any other sort of IELTS website or IELTS center or training or whatever, it's important for you to know that the tips that they offer, in order for you to maximize them, in order for you to maximize their chances of success, you need to have sort of a level of understanding. You know what I mean? Because that's you need to have just a little bit of understanding in order for you to use these tricks. Right? Okay. So Unexes, hello Unexes. This person says, which method is useful for reading, skim or scan, or even reading the whole paragraph? I'm so confused. Sorry for asking again. No, that's totally fine. It's totally fine. There's no need for you to apologize. And hey, I'm confused half the time. Just ask my wife. So it's totally fine to be confused. It's nothing to worry about. I mean, we all get confused. So in terms of method for reading, it depends on the question type. So skimming, scanning, reading the whole paragraph, you can, but if you have enough time, if you're a fast reader, if you're a speed reader, then that's something that yeah, you can do that. However, for me, I look at the question type. Look at the question types. Is it true, false, not given? Is it fill in the blanks? Is it matching headings? So remember, if it's headings, um, you probably don't need to read the entire paragraphs, but you'll need to look at the first or second sentence, right? But for example, for fill in the blanks, remember when we said the very first session about fill in the blanks, where it's the answers are sequenced. So the answer for the first question is usually in the first part, the second question is right after it, and the third question is right after it. So maybe the answer for the third question is at the very end of the paragraph, right? So you'll need to do that. So my advice is a combination of skimming and scanning and reading the whole paragraph. So when I know where the answer is, I'm going to read that paragraph and I'm going to focus on it, right? So that would be it. Anonymous attendee at 11:54, it says, is there such a thing as IELTS vocabulary? Hmm, I I don't think so. I don't believe there is sort of a vocabulary for IELTS. I mean, whatever vocabulary you have, it's going to be, it's the same vocabulary that you're going to use for in your everyday life or in your classes. So no, there isn't really sort of a specific vocabulary for IELTS. Meme, hello. How can I watch this lecture another time? So, Meme, if you send us a message, if you go to www.IELTSHorizon.com/Q&A, we'll be happy to share with you this this lecture. All right. So Mustafa says, but I heard that the new online version may be announced a few days later. No need to attend at any test center. Okay, so I think what you're saying, okay, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. What you're talking about is because of the coronavirus situation that they're trying to get people sort of to do the test. It's going to be, and you don't need to attend. I'll have to look that up actually. Thank you very much for informing me about this. I'll have to look it up and see what is going on in the world of IELTS with the coronavirus. So yeah, thank you for your question. So Lazo says, please do this kind of sessions more, please, and also longer. This was my first time joining your online sessions, and it was really helpful. Well, Lazo, thank you very much for your kind words, and thank you for joining us. And we hope to see you on future sessions. And yes, definitely, we will be having many more. And like I tell everyone, please, you can go to IELTSHorizon.com/Q&A, and we'll be more than happy to connect. All right, and I'm gonna answer one more question because let's look at the time. Wow, it's 12:03. All right, okay, we have two more. We'll just answer these two for. Okay, Fareed asks, I have a problem with speaking when I think of a topic. I'm perfectly fluent in my mind, but when I want to speak and think about topics at the same time, I lose my concentration. So what do you suggest? Well, Fareed, that is a very good very good question, and that's actually a very common issue people have, especially second language speakers. So where English is not your first language. Yes, you in your mind you think about it and it's fluent, but when you actually speak, it's very difficult for you to use the words to form your words. What I would do for it is to practice. Practice. Um, there isn't sort of a one-time cure for this type of situation. It just takes experience. When you start thinking in English, you'll be able to produce this whatever you're thinking of, your thoughts, very fluently. Just keep trying it. And in order to lose your concentration, I think maybe it's either you're too nervous or because you're concentrating too much, and you really don't need to concentrate. All right, so that's another thing. Great. These tips are similar to what I learned in the Arabic course here, but you sound different. Well, who said it was me who was teaching the Arabic course, right? Okay, well, so that's enough time for today. So please leave your questions. You can email us, send your questions to www.IELTSHorizon.com/Q&A, or Um, uh, I mean, yeah, that too. But remember that we have another session on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Just Q&A. So it's going to be basically like this. It's where you guys write your questions and I will answer as many as possible. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to, out of your busy schedules to come and attend. And we hope that you learned something today. And as always, please stay safe and hopefully everything will